Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff, and I'm the son of the richest man in the world. Now, you'll start guessing, perhaps Googling who my father is, but I'll tell you right away that this is not about him, but about me. And I'm not going to brag about my life, much less tell you how my father earns, because I want to tell you about one important experiment that changed my life completely. Well, about everything in order. And while you watch, listen, don't forget to put likes and write comments and subscribe to our channel. A lot of guys are jealous of my life because it has everything you need. I'm not talking about material goods, a big luxury house. I have two rooms, a dressing room, my own shower, personal maid, a couple of cars. I never complained about my life, although you'll be surprised, but there's a great deal of pretense in it, from which I have suffered not a little. Here, for example, is my environment. Thousands of messages about dating come to my mail and personal messages a day. They are both personal and fake accounts. I often write about how I just went on a date with someone, just invited this or that girl. I love girls, but I knew perfectly well that they didn't want me, but my money, or rather, not even mine, but my father's. That's about the same thing happens with friends. For many years, I've been constantly surrounded by someone these people call me brother, friend, and then immediately ready to stab me in the back when I have no money left. I don't tolerate betrayal, especially because of the money. Well, I had a friend named Harry. At first, it seemed to me that I would communicate with my own kind, that is, rich children. I would definitely be sure of them because they themselves have money, which means that they are genuinely interested in me. So Harry and I have been in contact for many years, probably as long as I can remember. Among hundreds of friends, acquaintances, I chose him, resorted to the first call when I needed help. I was ready to share cars. I called. I came to solve his show offs, and he had quite a few of them. And at the moment, when I was at a turning point, I was in an accident and couldn't walk for a while. I found out that he was dating my girlfriend. She, by the way, was also not from the poor. It was such a blow to me. I found out about it by accident. They just lit up in a photo at one of the parties of our mutual friends. I had no trouble seeing them in the background. My world collapsed at that moment. My mother and father were very worried. They were afraid that this would affect my health and therefore didn't leave me for a single step. I was really upset and I didn't even want to live anymore. But then I decided to act differently. On the contrary, get on your feet quickly to prove to everyone that I'm a tough nut to crack. I had months to recover and I was successfully recovered. Going back to school was also painful, but I didn't give up. Harry initially avoided me with my ex girlfriend, but I decided to talk to them anyway. They were silent for a long time, didn't know what to say, and then I finally confessed. I wanted to forgive them, but I couldn't. I wanted to hurt them. I slapped my best friend in the face a couple of times and left. I was upset my father decided to send me to Europe for a while so I could forget myself. That's when my new life began. I'd never gone anywhere alone before. This time my father insisted. He said that I should learn to be independent, especially so to help me to have a good distraction. Upon arrival, I was in trouble. I lost my luggage, and then my phone was stolen along with my bag. Then I was left alone. Was I scared? I almost lost my mind. I was about to go to the police when a girl came up to me. I was sitting right on the ground and I didn't know what to do. She gave
Hmm.
me alms. Hey, I'm bored with your handouts. I'm not a bum. I called after her, and she looked at me and said she wasn't blind, but she could see that I needed a couple of dollars for food or travel. She was right. I took the money and ran to her, promising to return it to her, and she smiled and agreed. I went to the market and bought some food. Went to the bathroom, washed up, and had a snack outside. I didn't know where the site was, and I didn't understand the foreign language very well. I walked away completely lost. In the evening, I was hungry again and went to a cafe. I started talking to the security guard, explaining that I wanted to eat, but my things were stolen. I said I could pay with an expensive watch, but he kicked me out. The waitress came over. Hey, it's you, I told her. Excuse me, Monsignor. This is my cousin. He's just arrived. He's not right in the head. I'll keep an eye on him, she told them and led me inside. I resented her calling me that. I'm Sarah, she said, and held out her hand, which I shook uncertainly. She sat me down at an empty table and later brought me hot food and coffee. I ate heartily and thanked her, and then handed her the watch, explaining that there was nothing else to pay for it. But she didn't take it, and she could earn it herself. We sat down, and I told her how I got there, and she suddenly offered help. You can stay with me for a while. I can get you a job here in the cafe. We need a dishwasher. You can save up the money for a ticket back, she said. I didn't like the idea because I'd never washed the dishes. I asked her to borrow money for me to leave and vowed to return it. Oh no, my friend, you have to earn it yourself. And you're lucky in general. I don't offer help to everyone, much less my own home. I just see that you're decent, and so I decided to help, as I helped once. Think of it as just passing the baton of good to you. Next time, you'll do the same for someone else, she said. It all looked strange, but I had no choice, so I agreed. Sarah showed me where everything was, and then brought me home. She had a small apartment, even my room was bigger. She was sleeping on the couch, and I was on the floor. I was hard and uncomfortable because her dog was sleeping next to me. The next day, she woke me up as so early and called me to work. I didn't want to get up. At the cafe, she introduced me to everyone, and then I got to work. At first, I didn't even know how to wash the dishes, but she showed me everything and said, "Hurry up." I was so confused and immediately broke several plates. I was told that they would write off my salary. It was terrible. As soon as I finished washing the dishes, they brought me more, and then more, and so on until the evening. I was already beginning to resent that it was an endless job, and everyone there started laughing at me. After a day of work, we came home. I ate a quick meal and passed out in a second, despite the dog. In the morning, we went back to work. The first week, I went crazy with pain in my legs, back, and I still had my pain in my hands. So I also received from the boss for not washing the dishes properly. At some point, I wanted to drop everything and leave, but Sarah calmed me down and reminded me of the ticket home. This thought motivated me. Already closer to the third week, I became more nimble, even managed to have a snack in between work. Sarah showed me around her city, and we took public transport. I ate fast food, and she helped me clean the house. I told her I was lost, but I didn't tell her who my father was. It turns out that Sarah also came here a few years ago to earn money and help her mother and brother. She sent them money every month, and she lived in the wild. I was just blown away by how she survives every day. Works silently, even on weekends, does not sit idle, and runs to a part time job. I admired her. A couple of days later, I found out that it was her birthday, and I made dinner myself, waiting for her to return from her part time work on the day off. Sarah was pleased, even though my dinner wasn't very good, and she pretended to eat it. In the end, I had to order a pizza. We danced that night, and then we kissed. I realized that I'd fallen in love with her. The next day, the police came to our cafe. They were looking for someone, and my parents were standing behind us. I'll not tell you how it all happened. They decided to take me away, but I didn't want to leave her. Sarah found out about me and refused to go. She felt that she did not correspond to the status of my family, and then I stayed with her. My parents didn't mind, and they saw changes in me for the better, and I finally found a real person.
Greetings to all. My name is Gloria, and I'm probably going to get a lot of negative comments right now, but I'll tell you what it is. Just listen to the rest of it, because I'm telling you this story for a reason. It is important for me to hear your opinion and understand whether I did everything right. Please do not forget to like the video and subscribe to this channel. In general, I am a billionaire. Yes, my parents are very rich people. We had a luxurious house, a lot of cars, expensive clothes, our own servants, and I even had my own driver. When I was born, we already had money. My parents are both from not poor families, and when they got married, the wealth only increased. No wonder they say that money sticks to money. Just so you understand, my father had 14 cars, and my mother had 15, almost each to match the color of her most chic outfit and mood. We often used to go on vacation abroad, not denying ourselves anything. We had our own yacht, and Dad was about to buy an entire island so we could go there on vacation when we had free time. My mother never cooked. She did not like this business at all, but in principle, this was not necessary because we had several cooks. Since I was a child, I've only eaten good food made from expensive dishes. But you know, when you grow up with money, that doesn't seem so important anymore. Whenever I drove through the streets and saw kids queuing for burgers, I thought they were beggars. I couldn't understand how they could even eat fake food. It was all worth it, of course. Cheap. Well, for me at least. In general, so we lived. And as they say, all good things come to an end. My father burned out in a moment. It was just awful. We were impoverished overnight. My mother was heartbroken because we had no idea how to continue living. The only thing we have left is half. Yes, maybe it's not so little, but not much. We took away a whole half. No, it wasn't the police. It was serious people who took their own. That's what they said. We had to sell a lot, give up entertainment, and the purchase of the island was out of the question. It was a difficult time, and we tried to save on everything. My mother said that I should now go to a simple school among ordinary children and not tell anyone that we are rich. It was a real challenge for me. I disgustedly opened the door. I went into the corridor and saw the chaos, where middle and low-class children ran around, where children drink one drink for two, eat one popcorn, and in general, how did they learn in such conditions? In class, I couldn't make friends with anyone. I wanted to howl and run back to my closed school, where they ate with knives and forks, where there are guards, and where my driver took me. And now what? I was supposed to take the bus, eat school food, and drink plain water, not imported from Italy? I didn't talk to my classmates just because I was disgusted. I didn't want them to touch me. I didn't eat lunch at school, preferring to be hungry. Every day I cried at home and asked to be brought back. But my parents kept saying that we couldn't go back, because now my father is trying to get the money back and we need to save. One day, when I was sitting alone at lunch, my classmate sat down with me. Her name was Matilda. She offered me sandwiches and I turned my head away in disgust, although I was terribly hungry. To be honest, it looked delicious, but my pride wouldn't let me. Matilda took half of it and pushed the other half toward me. I asked her why she was so kind to me, to which she replied, "Why not?" Her answer surprised me. How can you treat someone well just like that? At my old school, we paid each other if we wanted to ask for a favor. I picked up her sandwich, took a bite, and realized it was the most delicious thing I'd ever eaten. She poured me a glass of juice, and it was just homemade orange juice. "Is that your mother cooking?" I asked, and Matilda replied, "Of course." I was surprised. Is it really possible to cook such delicious food at home? From that moment on, Matilda became my first friend for nothing. Every day she shared lunch with me. Sometimes we walked around the city and she showed me simple, free things that you can get a lot of pleasure from. For example, a walk in the fresh air, a lunch that her mother cooked for us. Matilda taught me to ride a bike. I tried a burger for the first time and washed it down with a Coke. My new friend showed me a different life, and it didn't turn out to be a bad one. When it was her birthday, I pulled out my savings and went to her house. Everyone gave her gifts, and I brought her money. There was about $1,000, and you know what? She refused to take it. I was very surprised, but she said that she knew about my family, financial difficulties, and that we are billionaires. "You need more money now. I invited you just like that," she said. I came home and asked my mother, "Are there people who do things not for money?" But my mother shook her head. She said that this does not happen. Everything in this world is based on money. I thought about it again, and then I texted Matilda that she was my best friend, and she texted me back. I was pleased to be friends with this girl, and I wanted to introduce her to my old rich friends. They were having a party, and I took her with me. As soon as we got there, she was ridiculed. "Didn't we tell you that you can't take homeless people with you?" the girl said sarcastically. I looked at Matilda in fright. She was upset, and I was so ashamed in front of her. Already with different eyes, I looked at my old company, where the girls laughed a lot, drank expensive drinks, and all the talk was only about money, shopping, and everything. "Apparently, your new school for beggars didn't do you any good," they said. "Not everything in the world is based on money," I said, taking Matilda's hand and leading her away. I took her to the park, bought us burgers, and asked for forgiveness. Matilda wiped away her tears and said that I had changed a lot and that she was happy and proud of me. That made me smile. I suddenly realized that money can't buy true friendship. A year later, Dad's business improved and we were rich again, even more than we were before. My father's first suggestion was to transfer me back to my old school, and I refused. I didn't want to learn anymore and be surrounded by people who didn't have real values. When I explained my choice to my father, he said that he respected my choice and did not dare to interfere with it. My mom didn't like the idea, but my dad talked her into letting me decide for myself. So I stayed in my poor school, where I even began to dress more simply. By the way, I even had my own group of friends, and my friendship with Matilda only grew stronger. I realized that among the poor people, there are sincere and kind people who are ready to love people just for who they are. Am I right?